okay, but I wanna have fun all night. I could've took this girl if I wanted, but I ain't into throwing dirty laundry in the public. I can always make something out of nothing, cause I know how it was when it wasn't. Falling ships and murder that she wrote. Combination, always drink and smoke. Apathy could help the way I roll, cause I'm selective on how much I show. Time will tell, don't show me what I know. Know you have to only go for broke. You look good but act just like a hoe. You look good but I really want nothing but a good time. I ain't here for the fuck shit, paying no mind. If you're trying to show me substance, bring it on mine. I really want nothing but a good time. I really can't stress this enough. I always gotta keep it at a buck. I rather have money than lust, but I'ma look twice if she got a big butt. I have a hard time with trust. Hard time love is a new fine drug. It's okay, I'ma fill my cup. It's okay, I'ma still turn up. Pull up, girl, to bury wine. You love to dance and you love to fight. Pull up, girl, to bury wine. I love the dance and I love the night. Pull up, girl, to bury wine. You love to dance and you love to fight. Pull up, girl, to bury wine. I love the dance. I really want nothing but a good time. I ain't here for the fuck shit, paying no mind. If you're trying to show me substance, bring it on mine. I really want nothing but a good time. Why don't you just pull up, girl, to bury wine. You love to dance and you love to fight. Pull up, girl, to bury wine. I love the bands and I love the night. Pull up, girl, to bury wine. You love to dance and you love to fight. Pull up, girl, to bury wine. I love the bands and I love the night.
Hi, welcome to an all-new episode of Butterfly Blackout. I'm your host, Emily, along with Truth. Hi, Truth.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Nice.
This is going to be a very light episode.
Not you.
Yes.
Must be in a really good mood.
With all that's going on in the world,
Okay.
I'm not going to be that person. We could talk about it, but I don't even know what's fact, what's fiction. I'm not sure what's going on anymore.
Okay.
I think a lot of things that are happening on purpose, are part of a larger plan. And we'll get into that. But our hearts go out to anybody being oppressed. My heart goes out to us Americans being oppressed. You're saying, how are we oppressed? Well, back in the day, many, many moons ago, if you were a free slave, you had to walk around with your papers, right?
Yeah.
And if you wanted to do anything or if somebody stopped you, they had the right to ask you if you were free. Where are your papers?
Right.
They'd be like, where are your papers, boy? Right? And then what happened if you didn't have free papers?
I think you were arrested, or I forgot what was the steps, but it wasn't pretty.
Right. And so for us Americans, I feel like we're going back to what America knows best. We're getting a taste of soon to come. We're going to get a taste of what slaves felt like, what free slaves felt like. When they ask you for your passport, I'm not your passport, your vaccine passport.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And they ask, please show us your vaccine passport. And if you don't have it, then you can't do certain things. And just like with slaves, you'd be arrested or something worse.
So they're just throwing HIPAA law right out the window.
So we're just basically going back in time and just calling it something else. But in this case, it's just going to affect everybody and separate those that are vaccinated from those that are not vaccinated because there's a larger plan. But we won't get into that. It is what it is. I say we won't get into that because in 2022, we are potentially going to be replaced by robots. That sound funny? Well, thanks to Elon Musk, he's building a robot and is set to make its debut in 2022. People are laughing about it. They're excited for it. But this is the future. I mean, if you're not vaccinated, you're losing your job and you have the potential of being replaced by a robot. If you are vaccinated, you'll still lose your job because you will be replaced by a robot because a robot doesn't complain. A robot just gets it done. So what do they need people for? But then if you don't have a job, you can't get paid, you can't pay your bills, then what's the use for you as a person, as a human being? Where are we moving to? Well, it worked in the day to have slaves. Maybe the robots will take over and demand that we do hard labor. You know that Bill Gates bought a whole land. Maybe he'll have us in his land, putting down crops. Maybe they'll want to pick up cotton again. Sound far-fetched? But we never thought we'd have vaccine passports, and we have them now.
So it's passed, or they're trying to pass it?
What?
The vaccine passports.
It's coming.
I don't see them getting past HIPAA, but
it's not. You have to show proof. Okay, you have to show proof in many locations that you are vaccinated, which again is a violation of your privacy. It's either you want me in your establishment or not.
Facts.
So for many people, they are ignoring the rules because, one, they want your business. Money is money, right? They already lost enough money being shut down. Two, some of these business owners are vaccinated, but they're siding with the unvaccinated because they feel like it's a personal choice. Like, you can't mandate people to take a vaccine. You can't tell people what to do like that. Especially, it's your body. You know your body. That's what we complain about as women. How are you in my uterus? Like, why are you in my uterus? Like, why are you telling me what I can and cannot do? I understand the controversy about abortions. I mean, there are plenty of ways to prevent you from getting pregnant. We're not even really having those conversations. We're just going out there saying that if you get pregnant, you don't want the baby, terminate the baby. But many of you don't realize that they take these babies, these fetuses, there's a whole process that they kill the baby or the fetus, and they use the parts. That's a fact. That's not fiction. And they use it for their own experiments, but at the same time, you, being the person who they took it from, y'all don't even get a check for that. It's kind of like you donated your fetus to science, but science failed to pay you for it. You didn't consent for science to use anything. Are y'all even thinking about that? But at the same time, why would I sit there and tell you, oh, you should go ahead and get an abortion and not really discuss your other options? Like, how about try not to get pregnant? Why aren't we talking about that? Why are we not saying, hey, listen, it's not a good idea for you to have unprotected sex? That's what a condom is for. Heck, that's what Plan B is for. You mess up, you go ahead to the store, $50, $40. If you want the cheaper version, the real cheap version is $30. Pop the pill and you'll be all right. That's a fact. But we don't have those conversations. We're just so quick to tell people, especially black women, go ahead and get an abortion. Because they don't care. We don't know if that's going to hurt you in the long run either of you trying to have kids if you decide you want to have kids. But it's okay because there are men pretending to be women trying to breastfeed. So does it really matter at this point? Next thing you know, they'll figure out how to inject you with fake milk so you can actually breastfeed your child because maybe some of y'all just like the idea of a child sucking on your nipples.
Okay, then.
Well, but anyway, the robots are coming. So y'all brush up on your movies so that way y'all know, like iRobot, how you supposed to deal with the situation at hand. So, many people voted for Biden, so they say, and many people didn't vote for Biden. I just wanted to know from you, Truth, what grade would you give Biden as president right now? With everything going on, all the speeches, the lack of answering questions from the press, what grade would you give him?
It's. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna give him an F. I'm not gonna do that. But I will also. I would say like a C, C minus. I mean, I know other people would give him a higher grade because he keeps throwing money at him. But I'm waiting for next year when that tax return come and they don't get anything, and they realizing that they actually got their tax return early and start crying. But he has allowed the or allow but help the people who have student loans that's got pushed back to February. A lot of the pressure that was put on as far as the government unemployment, they're continuing the extra credit for those individuals who truly need that help. So he's helping out. He's helping out as best as he can. It's not easy to do. Trump left a big, money hole situation that was there. So I would have to say C minus.
Okay, I'm not a fan of Biden. I
Couldn't
don't
tell.
agree with giving someone an F because, again, you don't know what you would do if you were in their shoes. You don't know what you have to work with when you're in that position.
Right.
Because there's a lot of moving parts. So just to automatically give people Fs, you can't, because if you were in that, I mean, even Trump has said there was a lot of moving parts, being someone who wasn't in politics, getting into politics. So it's a lot of checks and balances there. You can't just up and do stuff because you want to, because you're the president. It doesn't really work that way. So you learn the hard way. I would definitely give him a D. I'm
Wow.
giving him a D
Okay.
because I don't like the fact that when it comes to such cases as Afghanistan, you hold a press conference, but you pre-pick 3 people to answer questions from, and you answer nothing else. Trump was in office. Trump took questions. And I don't understand why Biden doesn't take questions. So if I was in the press room and they called me, my question would be, why is it that you do not answer all the press's questions? Why are you like 3 and outs? Like, it makes no sense to me. So I give him a D because he's not really transparent like they said that this administration would be. And that's a problem.
We have a second. I would like to rebuttal that, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think that's a genius from the staff, knowing the complications that this man has communicating in the first place. I wouldn't want him answering questions either. Don't you? I mean, you wouldn't think, because, I mean, yeah, you go at this man on a regular basis, and the fact that he's not able to really answer questions on the fly or anything like that, whether it's a good or a bad or whatever the situation may be, would you really want that man answering any questions at all? Even if you're asking him what did he have for lunch? Like, I don't even want him answering that. I think that's them good as far as protecting his presidency, which will only be 2 years tops, in my opinion.
1 year tops. No, I don't think that's a good idea because, again, then that shows that he's fraudulent and he should not be president.
Okay.
That's not what the American people need at this point in time. They need someone who can answer questions on the fly. They need someone who they can talk to, and you can get answers from your own president. You look bad running away. You look bad. It doesn't make any sense. It's
No, I
leaving people
understand
to
that.
question, why is it that you can't answer questions?
Well, we all know why he can't answer questions.
I don't know why he can't answer. I didn't vote for him. I don't know why he can't answer questions. A lot of people feel duped. Okay? There are a lot of people feeling duped by voting for him, especially a lot of you black folks, because y'all thought you was getting something, and yet your Asians got it before you. The Afghans, the Taliban got it before you, too. I'm just putting it out there. So when y'all gonna get it? Because they ain't passed no... Well, maybe that's why this whole Taliban situation occurred. So they can get people to forget about the whole George Floyd Policing Act.
Ah.
Y'all.
Left hand don't see what the right hand doing, huh?
Yo, that is good. See? You see how that works? Anyway, so, hey, leave a comment and let us know. You can leave a comment on Facebook, leave a comment on YouTube, on Instagram. Let us know. Truth Vibe TV, Butterfly Blackout. Let us know how you grade the Biden-Harris administration. I'm not going to say I'm not going to ask you all if you regret voting, because it's too early to say you regret voting for someone. I will wait a year before you say if you regret it or not. If you feel duped. But even if you felt duped, when are you going to stop feeling duped? Like, when do you break the cycle? You know? The cycle starts and ends when you stop listening to celebrities because they all got paid to tell you what to do. They all got paid to influence you all on who to vote for. And you forget that Diddy lives on a hill in a mansion, or he owns like 5 mansions. And you still live in a shack with rats. Paycheck to paycheck. Okay? And for fun, Diddy over here throwing his money away on a yacht to Belize. And you can't even get into the grocery store without showing proof that you've been vaccinated. I'm just saying. So you can't be listening to people who don't know what it's like to be you. They can sit there and sympathize with you and say, oh, I used to be there. But guess what? The moment you are no longer in poverty, you don't remember poverty. Because if he was all about the poverty life and helping people, you would have seen him put all his money into fixing up the projects and everything. Opening up a school here, school there, don't mean nothing. Okay? We got a lot of schools. All right? That don't mean nothing. At this point, some people are saying, what's education? You got some schools saying, oh, well, you don't even need to read and write. You don't need no math. For what? Well, that's because I just told you in 2022, Elon Musk is coming out. See, some people already know the agenda, so they're just trying to prepare you all.
So
Elon Musk is coming out with a robot, okay? The robot is going to replace us humans. So, of course, you don't need to read, write, and whatever. Just like they told slaves they didn't need to read and write. Okay, they don't need to do math. Why? Because you're going to be out in the field. You're a house Negro. You're a field Negro. Okay? Negro is universal, so everybody's about to become the new Negroes. That's all that is. And then in 4 years, when it's time to vote for a new president, y'all going to do the same thing. Be up in your feelings. Diddy's going to say vote or die and tell you all why you need to vote the way he needs you to vote because it's for his pockets. It's not for yours. He get rich. Y'all don't get rich. But I digress. Y'all do what you want. So over the weekend, I saw.
Uh-oh.
No, it was Friday.
Okay.
Friday, I saw. Thursday. I just want to make sure I tell you the right day. Thursday, I watched a movie called Blackout. And this is Denzel Washington's son's movie. David John Washington.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yes.
So that's how I felt about the movie.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it in the first place, but okay.
So here's the thing, right? So I'm watching it because, I wanted to see what it was about. It opens up with him and his girlfriend, and, they're in bed making love, and his character seems to be a little bit slow to me. Then they get into a car accident because he falls asleep at the wheel, which I thought was kind of weird. The car goes off the cliff and enters into this house. It breaks into a house where his girlfriend's thrown from the car. She's dead, and he sees a woman and a boy. Right? He's asking for help, but they run away. And then he wakes up in a hospital, which I thought was interesting. So somebody must have called the hospital. Could have been the woman with the boy or whatever. And he finds out that his girlfriend is dead. He wants to see the girlfriend, but he's heavily medicated. He's got his arm in a sling because it's broken. So he's at the police station. He makes his phone call to his girlfriend's father, but he never tells the father that the girlfriend's dead. He just says that there was an accident, which I thought was weird. So the father thinks that she's going to be okay, and he's on his way down to Greece to, see the both of them and be by her side. And I'm thinking to myself, so why aren't you telling him that she's dead? Because this man, you made him think that she's alive, and I was confused by that. So now he goes to the place of the accident, I guess to revisit the crime scene, to see where she died. And I guess he takes some pills thinking he was going to kill himself until this woman comes out of nowhere and starts shooting at him. So now he's running for his life, right?
Right.
Then the officer that did speak English, who spoke to him at the precinct, if that's what they call it, he was telling him, it's okay, I'm here. Next thing you know, he starts shooting at him. So I'm like, oh, here we go. All right. So now he running for his life. I'm sitting here thinking, but you was just trying to kill yourself, so why don't you just let them kill you? Right?
It's different if they do it than I do it.
Right. So I'm like, I'm confused why you running. So I figured they're killing him because he saw something he wasn't supposed to see, like that boy. Right? Okay. That's what I was thinking automatically.
Okay.
So basically it's just a cat and mouse chase. Like they're literally trying to kill him and he's running for his life. Then we find out, because he meets up with a woman who's posting up posters.
That's you?
No.
Yeah.
That's you?
Yeah, it's got to be you. It's your laptop.
Yo.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
You got the ghosts up in here. I'm like, I know that's not me.
I didn't touch anything.
Right.
All right, so he meets up with these two women who are posting posters of a missing boy. He recognizes the boy, and he goes up to them and he tells them that he saw the boy. They think that he's full of crap, and he's like, no, I saw the boy. I think that's why they're trying to kill me.
Okay.
So they were able to smuggle him out, but then they ended up coming to this police brigade, so he had to go back on the run because he didn't want to get them in trouble. All right. He finally gets in touch with the embassy. The embassy says they can't do anything for him because he allegedly shot a cop. And he's trying to explain to them, but the cop was trying to kill me. And he was like, I didn't really shoot the cop. The cop shot himself because he had the gun pointed at me, right?
Right.
So they were like, well, there's not much we could do. You're going to have to turn yourself into the authorities. He's like, what if I come to you? So he's trying to make it to the embassy, all right? So now he goes through the motions. Finally, he gets to the embassy after multiple people try to kill him, okay? So they got the girlfriend's body. He wants to see the girlfriend for himself. So they let him see the girlfriend. Then the guy who's doing the intake wants to talk to him and get more information. So he's asking all these questions. And then he was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I still have to take you to the authorities. He was like, why can't they come here to the embassy? I'm safer here. And so the guy's like, no, we really got to go. So I'm like, okay, well, something's off because I'm thinking if you're at the embassy, then you should be safe there. And after everything he just said is all funny. But the guy was like, you're going to be fine because you're going to be with me. Trust me, the car is bulletproof. So if anybody's trying to kill you, it's going to be hard to kill you because they can't get through the car. Next thing you know, the guy who he's traveling with is trying to kill him.
Oh, my gosh.
So he a part of it. Now he run into the girls because he realizes that he's in the place that he's supposed to be. And he finds the two girls that he was with before. And he tells them, we're in trouble. They're going to come after you because I gave them your information. And so the girls said, don't worry. You go out in the back. We'll be fine because we have the media presence. So they're not going to do anything because then they'll be caught.
Right.
So he's still running. Next thing you know, a bomb goes off. The political guy that's running for whatever it is that they run
kind
for
of political
in
office.
Greece. Okay. Yeah, in office. He's been assassinated. The killer has been knocked out. Everybody's running around, stoning stuff and beating up stuff and whatever. It's all crazy, right?
Right.
Then he recognizes the woman that's trying to kill him, so he follows her, right? Then she tries to get in the car, and she tries to get in the car with the original policeman that he shot in the foot. And so he pulls her out, and he's trying to be all brave and everything. And the officer, he gets in the driver's seat, and he drives away, right? But you hear a kid knocking in the trunk. So I'm like, oh, snap, they got the kid. So then he's able to kill the woman, but before that, she shot him. So he's already shot up. Now he's running after the car with the kid in it, right?
Right.
The other girl that was with him, that helped him, she followed him. So she's all confused, like, what's going on? So he's following the car. He does some death-defying stunt trying to get onto the car. Next thing you know, the car crashes, and then the guy falls out of the car, and then they all get the guy. He never says anything. Doesn't say a word. Now all of a sudden he says, oh, the trunk. The kid is in the trunk. They open the trunk because you hear the kid knocking.
Right.
And then they take the kid out and they realize who the kid is. And then it goes off. And I'm like,
okay, yeah.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
So you know the kid is in the car, right? Because you heard the kid in the car. That's why you was chasing dude. I know you're banged up. But at the end of the day, when you saw homegirl get you, why wasn't you screaming to get the kid out the car? Like, you said nothing. Just like when you was on the phone with your father, well, your girlfriend's father, and you didn't tell him that she died. Like, you made this man think, so he's going to Greece expecting to see his daughter, and sir, she's dead. I'd have been like, F you. You should have told me that. How are you going to explain that you fell asleep at the wheel? Like, and how he fell asleep made no sense to me. It was like you saw him getting ready to nod off, and in my mind, if you're getting ready to nod off, you'll pull over.
Right.
Right? She nodded off already because she said she was tired. She asked if he got it. He said, yeah. But you over here nodding off. Like, you legit. And then you put the, what is it, when you coast or whatever?
Cruise control.
You put it on cruise control. How are you cruise controlling on a road that is it's not a straight road.
Right.
It wiggles. Like, it's curvy.
Yeah.
How are you cruise controlling on a curvy road? Did anybody edit this? Did y'all ask questions? Like, when y'all in the editing room, right? And someone gives you a script, do y'all get a chance to, like, have a section of notes and ask questions to make sure it makes sense before you say yes? Because I had questions, right? So I'm yelling at the TV like, why aren't you saying the boy is in the trunk? That's why you done sat there and risked your life.
Right.
Okay? Now I'm sitting here screaming, why didn't you tell the father that she died? I'm sorry. I'm like, what? Because you don't want to tell the father that it was your fault? Because she's dead. It is your fault. You fell asleep at the wheel. She asked you if you was all right and you lied. But then it brings me onto a bigger picture, right? So you have a black main character and his girlfriend is white. So is this what we're doing now? Where, in the movies and on TV shows, you have to have LGBTQ representation. Oh, shoot.
Again. Boy, you got some super ghosts over there. I ain't coming to your house.
I'm sorry. You have to have LGBTQSSPRH representation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's basically the majority of the letters represented. I think we added the R for rebounders.
Yeah, you fuck. I ain't messing with you at all.
And the H is for us, heteros. Because we should be included, right? Inclusion's everything. So if we have to include them in everything you do, even when the script doesn't even call for anybody to discuss their sexuality, you have to show that they're LGBTQ. Are we doing this interracial thing now where we have to have an interracial couple? Because did it call for an interracial couple? Well, first of all, I'm not sure what black woman was going to be with him because I thought it was slow. So either way, I think it was just fine because they both look slow together. So maybe it worked for them. But again, he was running around, didn't know why the cops were shooting at him. And in my mind, I'm like, well, obviously you saw something you wasn't supposed to see. That was obvious.
Right.
When you said that you saw a kid and they said that the house has been dormant, there's nobody there. That should have been like your go-to. They're speaking to you in Greece, right, in their language.
She said in Greece.
And the main officer comes and he speaks in English. Now, my whole thing, and he has perfect English. So my whole thing was, okay, so if this guy has perfect English, how come he wasn't talking to you from the get-go? Like, they all struggling to communicate with you. He should have been the one to see how that worked. So you had holes in the whole situation. And you going to sit here and tell me that you don't know why they're shooting at you. You don't think it's interesting how the embassy wasn't quick to try to get you out of there after you just told them what was going on? You ain't put two and two together. Now, you done found a way to get to the embassy, and then they're still playing games. And I didn't even understand why you felt that you needed to see her. Your girlfriend, she did. Well, what you wanted to make sure? Like, because you can't bring her back. You can't undo what you just did to the father. The father asked that you call the mother because clearly they weren't together. So, as a whole, so basically, I give that movie an F. Now, if you liked it, tell me why. It was an F. I didn't like it. I mean, he played a real dude, but I didn't like it because there's certain things he was just too slow on. I'm trying to understand as a child in the trunk of a car losing oxygen, and you over here dazed and confused. You missed me with that whole situation. Okay? I need you to come better than that. But that was that. So last night, I went to. Well, I've been going to the Newark Moonlight Cinema for a while. It's the first drive-in movie theater for Newark.
Oh, it's open.
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
open, and I've been having a ball.
Nice.
Primarily, here's a little tidbit: you can technically watch both movies at the same time. There's only 2 movies a night: screen 1, screen 2, and you can watch both movies at the same time by just flipping your radio station, right?
Okay.
So, like, I went to go see Do the Right Thing with a friend, and they had The Wiz playing at the same time. So The Wiz started at 9 o'clock. Our movie started at 9:30. So, I was living my best life, being all extra. The Wiz is like one of my favorites. Primarily,
about to
it's
say,
the
I've been
music.
watching that
How
all day.
can you? You know what I
I've
mean?
been watching that all day. Forget the other one.
Huh?
I said, I've been watching that one all day. Forget the other one.
Which one?
I've been watching The Wiz. Forget the other one.
Yeah. So, and I know that they do play older movies that have already been out, but it's just something about being outside and just having a different atmosphere. And it's Black owned, and they do a really good job, and you are supporting the locals, and it's just a good feel. Plus, if you're into hookahs, they have car hookahs for I think about
Really?
$30.
Nice.
So, I mean, you could just go in there. Some people doing it up for date night, and they do it really big. So it's really, really cute. And if you want to get with friends, you just chill, watch a good movie,
That's
and be
nice.
out with the folks. That's it. My friend was like, "Oh, is that weed? Some people smoking weed. It's legal. Do you? You in your car, have fun. There ain't nobody having any issues. If you want to sit on the trunk of your car or the hood of your car, go ahead, knock yourself out. It's a very chill vibe." So we saw Do the Right Thing. Why I didn't know Martin Lawrence was in Do the Right Thing.
You serious? You ain't know?
I asked my other friend, I was like, "Did you know Martin Lawrence was in it?"
Yes.
I'm like, "Yo, I'm so slow." But anyways, he never saw it, my friend. So
Okay.
that was brand new to him. And I'm like, I never saw the entire, being honest, never saw the entire film.
Wow.
That's probably why I didn't even
Okay.
pay attention. I've always seen at the same, like, if I was coming at the same point and I started watching it, and then I never finished it either. So then we had a conversation about the ending because Radio Raheem was killed by the cops. And so we had a conversation about that. But I also saw Spiral. Spiral is a spinoff of the Saw series. It stars Chris Rock. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. And,
You didn't pay for it, did you?
huh?
You didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Did they refund your money on the way out?
Why?
Okay, go ahead. Tell us. I apologize. How'd you like it?
I liked it.
Okay.
I'm a big Saw fan, so
Right.
that was like my whole thing. I wanted my other friend to come with me, but he's that type of person that if it's a suspense, he can figure it out in 2 seconds. It's not worth it.
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, all right." So it's not a movie for him. Now I thought I had it figured out, right? But then again, I went in there under the impression of Saw, and so I know how Saw works. So I was paying attention to everything. All right. I thought I had it figured out, but I didn't. And then when the pieces started coming together towards the end, I was like, oh. And then in the Saw series, the ending's always messed up.
Right.
Okay. And in this one, the ending was really messed up. And I was just so mad at Chris Rock. I was like, dude, you didn't even save your father. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a good movie. I'm excited to see if there's going to be a sequel because I have no idea how they're going to spin it because the person who did all the crimes, he got away. But what would a sequel look like? And what would be the whole point of it? But what did you think of Spiral?
I
I think
refuse
you
to
should go
watch
and
it.
see it if you're into that stuff.
I refuse to watch it.
Why?
I mean, after the first one, which was phenomenal, the second one you could kind of take. It just gets ridiculous. I mean, you can honestly, my opinion, I'm looking at it and I'm like, when they did it, they was like, okay, we're going to put it out. We don't think it's going to be a big hit, but we're trying to get a couple of dollars. And it went wildfire. And they immediately started trying to come up with, multiple sequels to obviously cash in. And you can tell how it was because, 2 was okay. But then after that, it just crazy. But, the details they put in part 1. At least there should be some kind of similarities. It just went super left, and there was no more intricate things. It just was just straight killing. So that's why I couldn't really take it.
Well, the storyline was good. Once everything was piecing together, and you understood why things were happening. I mean, there was a method to the madness, so I was following that, and it was good. Now the deaths, I was sitting here talking to myself, trying to figure out what was the worst death. And if I was ever in that situation, how I want to die.
Right.
I don't want to die neither way. But I guess the first death was probably the worst. Do you want me to tell you?
I'll never watch it, so yeah.
All right. So the first death, well, the person was coming after all cops. Okay. He had a vendetta against all cops.
Okay.
And rightfully so. So the storyline was on point. All right. The person who committed the crimes, listen, he could do no wrong in my book, okay? Like, yo, he was good. He was good. So A+ on that. I did love the reference to Chris Rock made a reference to New Jack City. So he had to go get drugs, go to this drug dealer, and he made a reference to New Jack City, which I thought was awesome that they put that in. It was nostalgic for those that have seen that movie, and Chris Rock's character in that movie. So kudos to that.
Right.
But the first death was an officer who was hanging by a contraption with his tongue out. So he was hanging by his tongue, and he was standing on a crate or something.
Okay.
And he had to pull his tongue out. Like, literally, he had to bite down on a contraption so it'll cut your tongue.
And he'll be free.
Or the train was going to come and kill him. So he had to act quickly.
Okay.
And the reason why that happened was because he lies under oath. So cut your tongue out. He's like, you could live, but you ain't going to have no tongue. So you can't be spreading no more lies. Okay. I understood it. He tried, but he ain't do it well enough. He freaked out, and then the tongue was just hanging. All right? Wow. And something else that came out. I don't know what came out. It was just hanging. I said, oh, heck no. All right? The body was in parts. It was just bad. Now, the second death was another cop, and this cop shot and killed an innocent person.
Oh, wow.
So what the new spiral jigsaw person did was he had him in, like, water so he could be electrocuted, right? And his hands, like his fingers, it was like gloves, like the individual gloves on his fingers. So he had to either sever his fingers so he could never shoot again.
Oh, wow.
Or be electrocuted. And he had to bite on this thing in order to separate his fingers. Some of his fingers did separate. And then he stopped because obviously he was worn out, but then he kept going, but it was too late. He ended up having all of them taken off and then electrocuted. So he ended up dying.
It sounds similar to part one. I mean, I might check it out now because it was like, it was contraptions, and because none of the contraptions were meant to kill you. It was to give you an option to be responsible for your actions. And, if you were able to do that, then you were able to live.
And you also have to, like, what the guy did was also give out clues. And the whole thing about the Saw series is that you have to pay attention to the clues. So even when you're watching a film, you got to pay attention to everything everybody says because they give it away. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in here, they did the same thing. They got another officer, which, they were distracted. And then Chris Rock's character went back and realized, crap, this right here is a distraction. They don't want after his boss, right? So they get the other officer and tie her up. Now, in her role of being corrupt. So it was either have this hot, like, wax fall on top of her head,
right,
and suffocate her, or she could sever her spine. If she's because she had this this sharp thing behind her neck. It was already cutting.
What crime did she do?
Being corrupt, her hand in corruption. So it was either sever your spine, or that hot wax would suffocate you, and it just didn't.
Wow.
She wasn't gonna make it. She was impossible. It was impossible.
I might check it out and fast forward through some parts.
Then, another officer was skinned alive. Then another officer. Now this is you might want to watch it just to see this one. They got another officer who shot an innocent person, had him tied up and standing on a crate. And then all of a sudden, this contraption starts. And I didn't know what was getting ready to happen, right? You see this bunch of glass. It was like a line going in. They fall. What happens is the glass goes in, and then it gets crushed, and then it spits out. So the man died from having all the glass just penetrate his skin. And I'm like, dang, even Chris Rock's character has some glass in him. I was like, yo, I don't even know. That's why I was trying to figure out what was the worst way to go. I'm like, that glass thing was bothering me, right?
Right.
And then the last officer was just hanging and had like syringes, needles inside of him, blood dripping. And Chris was supposed to save him.
Right.
It was either take out the person who's been doing all the killing or save the father. He only had one bullet, so he used the bullet to save his father. All right, so you knock the father down, you remove one of the things, and you go after the guy who's been doing all the killing. But did you save your father? You didn't save your father. Because as the police were coming, you over here beating up the other guy. The police are trying to break through the door.
Right.
And all of a sudden, as they get closer, because the father was still, strung up, the father was being lifted. And he was like, wait, what's going on? And he was trying to get them to stop because the more they penetrated the door, he was being raised back into the air. So I'm like, well, what kind of nonsense is this? Then they come in, they're like, freeze, freeze, freeze. So Chris comes running like, whoa, 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 whoa. Right? Next thing you know, all of a sudden his father has like blades or guns or something, and he sticks them up, getting ready to shoot them, and then they shoot him to death. And he's screaming, no, no, no. And then the guy who did all the killing was just waving by. So I'm like, yo, you didn't save your father, son. He said either save your father or get rid of me. You thought you saved your father, but you didn't unhook him. You didn't save him. I was like, yo, if you know anything, and they made references to Jigsaw, if you know anything about Jigsaw.
Right.
Like, and this guy, you claim to be a copycat. Dude, you should have made sure your father was free and clear. And you didn't do that. So now you done killed your father. And his father was up there for corruption.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
it circled back. And if you go, and they played back everything that was said throughout the movie. That gave you the clues. Because basically they told you, in these movies, they tell you everything you need to know if you're paying attention. That's why when you watch it, you have to be analytical about watching it. It's not, for some people, it's entertainment. For others, they're really invested. Like, not really invested, but like my friend, he can just probably in 2 seconds figure it out. That's why he didn't want to see it, because then he'd be ready to go. So, but I say watch it. If you're into that stuff and you want to see how people die, watch it. It is entertaining in that way. For some of y'all might be like, ugh. You might want to check your tongue. You might want to check your fingers because... I'm just saying. But I give it a B.
Okay.
I'm excited
You give that
for
a
a
B.
sequel.
Okay.
Okay. With all this stuff about vaccines, I did contact Riza Islam, brother out in California who's been on the FBI's most wanted list or watch list, whatever, because he's allegedly giving out false information about the vaccine. I don't know how false it could be. If you could look up everything he says, it's all right there in print on the internet, so can't be all misleading information. I did reach out to him. I haven't heard back, but Riza Islam, I would love for you to come on to the show to have a conversation about these vaccines, especially since we learned from the CDC,
Right.
which they have admitted that the vaccine effectiveness has decreased. That's a big deal.
Oh.
Which would mean you would need a booster shot, but wondering if these booster shots are really just for money purposes because, I
Exactly.
mean, you can manipulate the vaccines. So a lot of you have been taking the vaccines, been forced to take vaccines, and many people have been getting sick fully vaccinated, and you're wondering how is this possible. Many of you are blaming unvaccinated people, and it's kind of interesting to blame somebody who isn't vaccinated, but at the same time, they're not sick either. So I'm trying to understand how a non-sick, unvaccinated person could get you sick. Nobody has yet to explain that. But there is a person that I follow on Instagram. I won't say her name.
Mm.
She got sick. She's fully vaccinated and she caught COVID. The interesting part was that she told everybody that she has COVID, and she said she probably got it from an unvaccinated person. I wanted to respond and say she should take that down because I knew in my soul she was going to get chewed out for it. A couple hours later, she comes back with an apology because, like I said, I knew she was going to get chewed out because you being an influencer yourself, how are you just going to say you caught it from an unvaccinated person when many unvaccinated people have to wear masks? You've been around. You're out there on your site, so people see what you've been doing, seeing that you've been around with no mask on. So more than likely, and if you are listening to the news and you are listening to what they're saying, you being vaccinated, you have a greater chance of catching it because you guys are passing it to each other and it's mutating inside of you. So to blame an unvaccinated person, I think, is irresponsible because basically you're just repeating what everybody else is saying. So she did apologize, and I'm glad that she apologized, but she tried to say that she was having a rough day and, she deserves to just, lash out, but you're lashing out at the wrong people, and many of your followers are not vaccinated. And I am aware that she gets paid to talk about vaccinations and getting people vaccinated. But you do what you got to do for money, right? I'm not going to sell myself out telling people what they should do because I believe in personal freedom. See, when you've never been a slave or never had your ancestors in slavery, and if you really understood how this country worked, you wouldn't be doing that either. We talked about it earlier. But hey, if y'all want to live that life, be my guest. So yes, the CDC says that the effectiveness of the vaccines are decreasing. And what's interesting is that Pfizer's decreasing more than Moderna. So I'm wondering, would it be better to get the Moderna shot than the Pfizer shot? And the Pfizer shot was the first one saying you need a booster. Isn't that interesting? Ain't nobody gonna talk about Johnson & Johnson. Y'all got other issues. I'm gonna need for y'all to settle your lawsuits before y'all push in a vaccine, okay? The one-shot wonder. But then again, many people will take the Johnson & Johnson. Why? Because it's one shot. They ain't got time for two. Y'all do what's best for you. That's your personal choice, right? You better do it while you still have time before the new world order comes. And then they tell you that you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, over in France, you can't go into a supermarket without showing proof of vaccination. So now they're going to starve you. All for the greater good. Is it the greater good? Well, right. Celebrities are coming out talking about their trials and tribulations and what they're dealing with the COVID mess that's going on. And one of them, our beloved Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Melissa Joan Hart. Actress Melissa Joan Hart has come out on her Instagram, and I love how people do this on their social media, to tell everybody that she has COVID. And, she was being careful at the beginning, but hey, probably got it from her kids going to school because they're not wearing masks. And she's upset and disappointed that they don't have to wear a mask. And I'm thinking to myself, well, just because the school said you didn't have to wear a mask doesn't mean that your kids don't have to wear a mask. I mean, that's a choice. You could tell them to still wear a mask. You don't have to. Just like you didn't have to send them to school if you don't want to. Many people have opted anyway to homeschool their kids. So I'm missing a lot of context here because my issue was, well, you're saying that you said that one of your kids has it, and then you said you got it from one of your kids. So I'm confused. Did you get it from the kid that had it, or did you got it from one of the other kids? But either way, you look fine. You're saying you're having trouble breathing. You're hoping that nobody else gets sick. You're saying that this country, everybody has relaxed too much with this. And you yourself and your family have, kind of been too relaxed. But that's on you. But at the same time, you can. Think about it. You're vaccinated, right? That's what they told you. They told you if you're vaccinated, you're not going to die. Yes, you could have the potential to get sick, but you're vaccinated. So you can walk around and be free. Isn't that what this is all about? Giving you back your civil liberties? Isn't it worth it? You don't see your family like you used to. So they've done a good job with separating people from their families because it's going to make it easier when they take all the ones that are not vaccinated and put them in a camp or something and tell you to go work the field because you're not good enough to be around the vaccinated people. But why would you want to? I mean, if I'm unvaccinated, why do I want to be around vaccinated people that could just give it back and forth to each other? I'm starting to believe that you want everybody to be vaccinated because you want everybody to catch COVID. Now think about it. If we all get vaccinated, we all catch COVID. And if you die, you die. Well, you can't sue nobody. So if you die, you die. Oh well, it's all for the greater good. One death versus millions of lives saved is fine. 10 deaths versus millions of lives saved is fine. But I think the confusion's coming from the fact that many people that are catching COVID are fully vaccinated and they're confused as to why they're catching COVID if they're fully vaccinated. Because many people were under the impression that if I'm vaccinated, I'll be all right. But yet, Melissa Joan Hart caught COVID. She says she's not all right. There are other people out there that have worse reactions. And it's not even to COVID. It's to the vaccine. There are people out there struggling. And all they did was take the vaccine. They never had COVID. But they did it to protect the people around them because what they're telling you on TV and what they've implanted in your heads are that you're protecting the people around you. You're doing it for the greater good. Everybody says the same thing. That's why in Canada, hey, if you don't get your vaccine, that's on you, but you won't be able to fly. You won't be able to take public transportation. You're going to have to stay in your home. But what did you do? And many of you in Canada most likely never had COVID. So you decided not to get the vaccine. I thought it was your choice. And he's saying, yes, it is your choice. But I'm not going to allow you to do X, Y, and Z. I don't know about you all, but especially in Canada, I'm not sure if any of you have, any ties to slavery. But I thought that was done and over with. I mean, migrants come into this country, but they don't say, oh, wait, stop. You can't come into this country if you have COVID. No, they come in here anyway because I guess the consensus with that is the more votes they get, then they can control the government for years to come. But that's smart. That's smart. You take the migrants, you turn them into Democrats, making sure that they get their votes. I'm wondering, nobody has asked this question, but are they registering them to vote? Because I think on the registration, it does ask you if you have a social security number, and if you don't, then you just mark that you don't. So when they come into the country, do they get registered to vote? I mean, some of them have addresses already. Oh, how do they have addresses? Because their relatives come and pick them up, so they're using their relatives yes. They have relatives that they contacted to come and get them because they don't cross the border, so now they need a ride home, to their home. So they use their address. I mean, if I was in the press briefing room, I would just ask that question. The question is, and Jen Psaki, you can answer this. I know you take online questions, so I'm asking this question. From Butterfly Blackout on Truth Vibe TV, do the migrants get signed up or registered to vote when they come to the border? Take your time to answer. Or you can circle back and find out and let us know. That's something that the American people would like to know. And would you mind telling us, as a follow-up, how are they registering? Are they registering as Democrats? Are they registering as independents? Is there a box for no affiliation? Truth, are you aware of a box that says no affiliation?
I don't think you have to, if you don't want to, say how you're going to do either or. But then again, when you're telling someone that you're actually going to give them access to the United States, I mean, you really think they're going to say no if I have to sign up either way?
Okay, listen.
I mean, that's the whole thing, getting to America. So you get into America, but they tell you in order to be American, you have to register as a Republican. You think that person's going to say no? Of course not.
Okay. Well, listen. I mean, Jen Psaki, that's for you. So if you could cut this up and just, message to Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, I would like for her to answer my question. Many people would like to know that. And last but not least, I was on the phone with a friend. Her kids go to school with my kid, and we've known each other for years. Now, there's a gap between us just talking to each other. She ended up getting sick, and she's been sick for over 5 years. The medication that she takes has made her get bigger. So she's obese, grossly obese. With her illness and medication, she's really not doing well. Every now and then, she's rushed to the hospital. So she went to University Hospital in Newark because she needs help. She needed some medication, but she needs someone to figure out how to make her well again.
Right.
Okay? Because even talking to her sometimes, I hate the way she sounds. When she walks, she has to hunch over because she's in so much pain. And it bothers me that you go to a doctor and they can't figure it out. And it's like, the question I have is, well, are you? I'll be ignorant. Is you trying?
Well, I mean,
to figure it out.
The hospital she's going to, is it a good hospital? I should always.
Well, don't jump the gun. Let me.
I apologize.
You're gonna have more questions after this.
I apologize.
Because that doesn't even matter. So she goes to the hospital. She sees the nurse. She's explaining her situation because all you seeing is this big fat woman. That's what you're seeing, right? Okay. But you all know her history. She didn't always look like that. I mean, my friend, Leanna, she had a body, okay? Right. I mean, you can't tell by looking at her now, but she had a body. And this medication, her illness, is like, dang. Like, I want you to get well so you can get that snatch back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So he was like, okay, well, let me get the doctor for you. But he asked her, are you vaccinated? And she said no. Well, why not? She was like, well, I don't want to right now. She was like, maybe I will later, but right now that's not my top priority.
He really asked that? Wow, okay.
So he was like, okay, we'll stay here. The doctor comes in. White lady. Hi, are those your kids over there? And she looked, she said, yeah. She was like, I heard you're not vaccinated. Why aren't you getting vaccinated? And she was like, well, as I told him, it's not on my top to-do list right now. And she was like, well, are your kids vaccinated?
Wow.
And she was like, no, they're too young. And she was like, oh, they look older.
Wow.
Then she says, do they have a father?
Oh, no, she didn't. I ain't gonna let you lie on that lady like that.
She said, yes, they have a father.
Wow.
And so she's like, is he vaccinated? And she said, no, and that's his choice.
Oh, my gosh.
You ready for this one?
I'm ready. It's
you
getting
sure?
better. It's getting better.
Who's going to watch your kids when you die?
No, she didn't. I ain't going to let you lie on that lady like that.
Now, I think it was God. Because Leanna talked about getting back in the church. I think God saved that white lady. Because despite how she may feel, my friend Leanna, I would never, even on her good days, I would never boss up to her. Because I know that Leanna's stronger than me. I know that one finger could end my life. Now, you came for her and you came for the kids. You assumed already that she didn't have a father for these kids, okay? You keep asking her about this vaccine, and she's in pain for something totally not even related to COVID. So she told me it took everything she had not to curse this chick out. And she didn't want to do it in front of her kids. And I understood. So she was like, that vaccine is not my issue. She's like, I have medical issues that are more pressing right now that I need help with. And she's like, well, we're going to do everything that we can, but I just want to make sure you understand about the vaccine and what it could do for you and all this other stuff. Can we talk about the racism here? Let's talk about the care that our women, our black women, fail to get from these doctors. Okay? Now, Leanna has never had COVID. Okay? Leanna could give two craps about the vaccine. Leanna just wants a doctor to help her with her current situation. Now, I'm not sure if taking a vaccine is going to heal her of her ailments. Now, if you told her that it would, she would take it. Now, she has seen so many doctors. Not one of y'all has been able to help her. But you are constantly talking about a vaccine that ain't going to do nothing for her, especially since she never caught COVID. Then you're going to tell her, well, who's going to watch the kids when they die? Leanna has been knocking on death's door every time she goes to the hospital unconscious. So if she dies, it ain't going to be because of no COVID. It's going to be the issue that she got right now. The audacity for me is you questioning her. And that's not why she's there. So do y'all get like a bonus every time that you convince someone to take the vaccine? Is this what we have to go through now with you doctors? Especially being black. Because, especially being a black woman. Because again, you're talking to someone about a vaccine and they're there for something totally different. If she went there for a hip replacement, what does the vaccine got to do with a hip replacement? If she's going there for heart palpitations, what the heck does a vaccine have to do for heart palpitations? Shoot, if she finds out she's pregnant, y'all gonna talk about a vaccine for what? If she's got fibroids, what is the vaccine gonna do for fibroids? You all can't even figure out why so many black women are having fibroid issues. She's very sick. And now one doctor can sit there and figure out what the heck is going on. So you lead me to believe that you have no intentions on helping her. Because I asked, I was like, so are they going to wait for you to die? Because all you seem to care is about this vaccine. You took time out your day to come to her to talk about why she wasn't getting vaccinated. Ain't got nothing to do with, ma'am, let's figure out how we get you better. Let's get you vaccinated first. Leanna ain't no issues. She's not harmful to you. Whatever's going on with her body right now that's causing her to be obese the way she is, that's causing her to hunch over, that is harmful. But you don't care about that because you have a quota to meet. Just like you know how police officers at the end of the month, they have quotas to meet. That's why they write up all these tickets. So doctors now got quotas that they got to meet. Got to make sure these people are vaccinated. Here's my stance. Screw your vaccinations. If you can't, I got a couple things. If you can't solve her medical issue and get her to feeling better and get her to lose that weight so that way, and it ain't got nothing to do with no exercise, it's whatever her situation is, and the medication caused her to blow up that way. Until you can solve that, don't talk about no vaccine. Until you can solve a lot of women who are dealing with fibroid issues, don't talk about no vaccine. Until you can find all of our black missing children, don't talk about no vaccine. Y'all real quick to take a black child from a black mother, yet all these other missing children y'all can't seem to find. Amazing how that works. But you want to talk about a vaccine because you want to protect our neighbors. Well, shoot, y'all didn't give a F about anybody else's neighbors when the kids were missing. Why is that no longer a priority? Maybe that's why Afghanistan took off the way it did, to distract us so we could stop asking these questions. Were we asking y'all too many questions about the missing kids? Y'all remember them? The ones that are being enslaved and trafficked? I mean, did you want to ask the Clintons? No? What about Epstein and his lady friend? She's still behind bars, right? What are you distracting us from? Was she about to say something? Because you know people waiting. Oh, but you throwing R. Kelly in my face. I don't care about R. Kelly. Y'all knew for years what he was doing. Y'all just acted now. That's another distraction. You have to ask yourself what took y'all so long. Because somebody benefited from it. We're not stupid. What else you got up your sleeves? You handpick the people that you take questions from when you're doing your press briefings. You get an attitude when people question your motives. Harris don't say nothing. She's on another flight someplace, doing who knows what. We got the governor of New Jersey going to Italy on family vacation. But then he's going to come back and tell you what you can and cannot do. We got a governor race coming this November. Many people got their homes for sale. And they're not leaving because they don't like Jersey. They're not even leaving because of COVID. They're not even leaving because of the situations going on in the world. You know why they're leaving? Because they can't pay their property taxes. Because they're so high. Truth, has Governor Murphy done anything to lower property taxes that you know of?
Of course.
What has he done?
He's paid off other people.
I'm sorry, what happened now?
I said other people's stuff is getting better. It's just not ours. The less fortunate always pays the most. Even though you think, oh, taxes are higher for the rich, there are a lot fewer of them than there are of us. So no matter what, at the end of the day, we will be spending the most money.
So when it comes time for November elections, are we all going to sit here? Because a lot of you have been saying, well, Governor Murphy is amazing. He's amazing. You'll love him. He's doing a great job. Many of you saying that are sitting pretty right now. There are a lot of homes for sale, but there are a lot of homes being bought too. So, and this might blow your mind. You thinking people are hurting. Well, guess what? You're hurting. Because there's a lot of people with a lot of homes doing makeovers. They not hurting. Okay? I just seen some in Newark on Lake Street. Y'all go drive down that block. I'm looking at freaking mansions. Yes, I said it. I'm looking at mansions. One lady had her, first of all, nobody knows anything about privacy. I mean, you going to show me your whole entire house. Go right ahead, lady. But I mean, it was wide open for everybody to see. You know what I mean? But these homes are gorgeous. I'm seeing homes just being, you know, you have like maybe a 2-story house, and some people are just having them built to 3 and 4 stories. I mean, wow, y'all got that money. Y'all doing well. The pandemic did nothing for you. Probably helped you. And some of you, it hurt. Some of you are still not paying rent, even though you still had a job this whole entire time. You're taking advantage. I'm hoping that you're saving. Because you're going to look real crazy. Because right now, everything's on hold, right? Probably going to wait until after the elections. And then what's going to happen? No more promises. We're done. I used you. Because that's what they do. Politicians, they use us for the votes, right? They tell you what you want to hear. We believe it. And then what happens? No George Floyd. No reparations. Nothing for black folks. It's all about LGBTQ. I'm sorry. It's all about LGBTQSSPRH. The R is for rebounders. And it's all about the Asians. Because God forbid you look at an Asian and you punch him in the face. But nothing for black folks. And some black people are upset about that. We're not going to say I told you so. Because we knew this was going to happen, because history repeats itself. Every time we vote for a Democrat, what happens? They make all these promises, but we don't get nothing in return. And then when we get smart, we wisen up and say we're not going to vote for that person, what do? They use our own people against us. They throw Diddy at us. They throw Beyonce at us. They throw all the people that we idolize because it will follow them like idiots. Just like the same people that tell you to go and get the shot. Realize they all got a check to tell you. Ain't nobody giving you a check, but they got checks to tell you what to do. Now, ask them if they really took the shot. Ask them what was in that little thing. Maybe some of them got the saline shot. Then again, hey, they tell you to mask up because there's the breakthrough viruses. Vaccinated people getting sick. Then you see a party with 5,000 people. How many people of those got sick? Maybe, hey, Obama had a birthday party. How many people got sick? How many that they told you? See? So now you have to ask yourself, did y'all really take a shot? What's the situation? If you stop, just like in the movie Spiral, what did I say? That movie, if you pay attention, it tell you everything you need to know before the end. You could always figure it out if you're paying attention. So then, when the ending comes, you'll be like, oh, I knew it all along. Or, wow. That's kind of how this is all set up. They tell on themselves all the time. You just need to open your eyes and pay attention and start asking the right questions. And if you ask the right question, you'll notice it'll be deflected. Then you'll know you're onto something. But either way, it is what it is. Rizza Islam, I reached out to you. I will reach out again to get you on the show because, brother, we need to have a conversation. I'm giving you a platform for you to speak since nobody else wants to talk to you or say your name, which is kind of stupid, Roland Martin and D.L. Hughley, because you may think that he's full of crap, but at the same time, if you really think that way, then bring him onto your show. But I guess you guys are afraid. And I understand. You serve a white man, you turn against your own people, and you love to interrupt and call people names, and you think it's okay. But your days are coming, and your days are numbered, okay? Because you could give it out, but you can't take it. And we are all waiting for the day for when they close the door on your faces. Until next time, see you later.